Anybody in need of some encouragement today? Anybody? I've been following some people on social media, and ever since we launched this summer of harvest, it seems that people have been struggling with some stuff this summer, been going through some things. We said that the harvest season's the hardest season, and that it's the hardest kind of work, and it seems like it's hit some people. So today, we're going to take a few minutes. We're going to give you some tools of encouragement. You can't plow a field today without some tools, right? And it says that the harvest machinery on a farm is actually the most expensive machinery there is in the whole farming process. And so today I want to give you some tools, some expensive tools to live the life of victory and freedom that God has given us. Today we live in a world that is just chronically negative. Do you understand that? You know that? You feel it? Just turn on the news and it's just negative. And I'll be honest with you, I struggle with negativity. By nature, I'm just a negative person. I don't know if that's the same with some of you in here. Maybe you always saw the cup half full. I was always the cup half empty kind of person. Can't even say it straight. I'm so upset at the cup. And if you're like me, I'm also in denial about it. It's the cup's fault. Like, why are you half empty? If you wanted to be, you could fill yourself up. It's your problem. Like, get yourself together. You're making me see you half empty, right? Anybody been in the same kind of boat? It's someone else's fault. And I just realized that I just had a negative outlook. Someone could bring a great idea, and I could shoot that idea apart in 50 million directions as to why that's a dumb idea, right? Maybe you could have done the same thing. You know, maybe your kid came to you, they're going to be a ballerina, and you tell them, you ain't going to be no ballerina. You got 2 left feet. Instead of just letting them dream and have fun. I do this, I know. I preach about it. I'm in CR. I'm getting help. It's all good. But we get beat up by these voices all around us, these voices of discouragement. You buy a new outfit, and you're so excited to wear that new outfit. You wear it to work or you wear it to church. And the moment you walk in, someone gives you the look up and down. And they don't make a comment. They just look you up and down and they just keep walking. And then you said, well, what does that mean? Does it mean that they liked the outfit? Was it a good outfit? Was it not a good outfit? Because you put so much time and attention into this outfit, you just knew everybody was going to love it. And when you didn't get the response you wanted, you're now discouraged. You feel bad about yourself or whatever comes along with that. I'll be honest with you. I struggle in my life with the mentality of not being good enough. Not being good enough. And I don't mean well-behaved enough, because I already know that I don't qualify in that realm. But sometimes I feel like I don't have enough talent or enough skill. Like I'm not good enough to be successful. And it's a voice that speaks to me. And I'm not saying it's a demonic voice. I'm not even playing that. I'm talking about it's my own mentality. And you know where that kind of comes from? It comes from unhealthy comparisons. And as much as I know where it comes from, it still beats me up. It still beats me up. Because we'll go on our phones, we'll go on the internet, and where my unhealthy comparison would be is I look at somebody else's church, and I look at the pictures that they put on Instagram. And they put a picture of their church that has 5,000 seats, and it's packed, standing room only. People are laying on the altar because there's so many people. But what they don't put in the caption was that was Easter Sunday, 3rd service, 10 years ago. Like they don't put that. They don't put pictures of their 7:30 a.m. service where there's 100 people and 4,900 seats empty. They never do that. And you know, the people you follow on your social media, they never put a picture of them fighting. They put a picture of them kissing each other under the starlights. They're at the beach and they've already airbrushed their content before they put it on. We look at our Chicho and like, I don't look like that. I don't feel like that. And I'm not good enough to make it. I'm not good enough in school. I'm not good enough at work. I'm not good enough at home. I'm just not good enough. And this is a very dangerous form of discouragement that comes because what qualifies you for being good enough? What qualifies you? What do you gauge? How do you measure it to find out if you're good enough? And so we all have these thoughts that come. You come home from work and you've done a very stressful day and you've made a lot of decisions and all you want to do is come home and have a cup of coffee and nobody bother you. Sorry. And you get harassed that the trash wasn't taken out or the dishes weren't done or nobody lives this life, right? Nobody at all lives this life. And it can be discouraging because you just wanted to come home to your oasis and relax, but yet you're confronted with more things that are not right about you, right? It's discouragement. It's amazing how one voice can either lift you up or pull you down. One voice can either push you forward towards your calling or it can drag you back into seclusion. Just one voice can do that. I'll tell you, a few years ago, I got to that place in life where I was realizing that I was not going to have a beautiful head of hair for the rest of my life. I did at one time have beautiful, long, dirty blonde hair down to my shoulders. I could comb it in any direction, and it just looked great. I'm serious, man. I loved my hair. I did. I spent a lot of time on my hair. I could part it down the middle and have it part both ways and pull it back in the man bun. I could push it straight back. I mean, it was just wonderful. And then one day I started like combing my hair and I looked at the brush and there was more hair on the brush than left right there. And my hairline used to be somewhere in the front of my forehead and now it had come back in here somewhere. And I told myself, I'm not doing the comb over. I'm not doing the push back. I'm not doing the spray paint or the transplant. I said, it's time to go. It's time to go. I held on to you too long. And I shaved my head for the first time. And anybody, you can ask any man who ever shaved their head for the first time because they had to. There was a level of insecurity that came with that. It was kind of like oh boy, I'm stepping into a new world. Now, later on, after you're secure in it, it's freedom because you don't have to mess with that stuff no more, all right? But I remember I shaved my head for the first time. I was a little like, oh man, do I got the right shaped head? Like I got scars in the back of my head. So I did what every young man does. I went to my mom to see what she thought. So I put a baseball hat on. My mom lives across the street. I walked across the street. I walked into her house. I said, Mom, I got something to show you. She's like, what's up? And I took my hat off and she said, oh dear Jesus. True story. You can't make this up. Oh, dear Jesus. Is that an oh, dear Jesus good or an oh, dear Jesus bad? And she went on to say, what did you do to yourself? That looks hideous. And it wasn't just, listen, you were here last Sunday. You heard how she talks to me. You heard it firsthand. It wasn't just like, I don't really like that. It wasn't like, that's not my favorite. No, she went, you look hideous. That was one of those words that mean everybody in this world thinks you look stupid right now. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Can I be honest with you? And so I walked over with a little bit of insecurity and I'm walking home with a whole lot of insecurity because it's amazing what one word can do. Don't hate my mom. She just likes hair. Right? It's amazing what one word can do. But then like a few days later, I was walking around, I had finally got a little bit of tan, so it wasn't like so bad looking. Because if you shave your head for the first time, it's never seen sun. All right, anyway. So I was like, wow, man, I'm really feeling the bald head. It looks great on you. That really looks good. And now that one word kind of just was like, what? You like it? Looks good? Yeah, man, I'm feeling it. Looks good. And then you go home and your wife says, yo, bald is sexy. Hey, say what? Say it again. Then I had this one guy come to me. He goes, yo, I thought I recognized that Vin Diesel looking guy. And I'm like, Vin Diesel? So I had to look up Vin Diesel's stats, how big's his arms, blah, blah, blah. Like, you ain't never done that. He's got 18-inch biceps. Oh, almost there. I'm almost there. One word. One word. One word can either encourage you or discourage you, especially if the person who gives you that word holds weight in your life. Let me tell you something. Only men can affirm men. I got to tell you this. Only men can affirm men. Yes, we like to hear our wives tell us how amazing we are, but that just turns us on. I'm talking about affirmation. I'm talking about something that means something. When a dad affirms his son, there's no greater affirmation that a man can ever get than his father telling him, I'm proud of you, you're doing a great job. There's nothing else. And I know that as guys, we like words of affirmation and we search for it from everybody about anything, but it's something special when a man speaks into a man's life. Why? Because a father's words hold weight that brother's words do not. When a father says to a son, man, I'm proud of you. Do you know what the words meant when Jesus is baptized by John the Baptist? The heavens open, the Holy Spirit descends like a dove, and a voice from heaven is heard saying, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Do you know what that meant to Jesus? Although he was already fully God and fully man, him hearing his father say, well done, spoke life to him to endure the cross. What can one word of encouragement do in the right way? Listen, one of the most spiritual things you can do is to encourage someone else in things that matter the most to them. That's deep. One of the most spiritual things you do, because we think telling somebody good job, proud of you, that's just like, that's easy. But for the person who needed it, it means everything. One of the most spiritual things you can do is encourage someone else in things that matter the most. Listen to this. In 2 Corinthians 7, verse 5, it'll come up on the screen. It says, when we arrived in Macedonia, there was no rest for us. We faced conflict from every direction. Have you ever felt like that? Every which way I turn, I'm hitting conflict. I'm hitting comments. People are talking about me. Things are going wrong. Everything I touch breaks. It falls apart. There's conflict all around me. Watch what he says here. With battles on the outside and fear on the inside. With battles on the outside and fear on the inside and conflict all around us, but God. And I love that he puts that right in the middle of this sentence. But God, who encourages those who are discouraged, encouraged us by the arrival of Titus. What this is saying here is, at exactly the right time, God sent us exactly what we needed to encourage us. God sent us exactly what we needed at exactly the right time. He sent us exactly what we needed at exactly the right time. And that message happened to come through a messenger called Titus. You have no idea what God can set in motion with one single word of encouragement. What could God set in motion through one single word of encouragement? And that word might be delivered through you. Just one text message, one written letter, one thank you note, or one Facebook message, one word. You have no idea what that one word of encouragement can do through you. I think that there's someone in here today that you've been thinking about somebody in life. You've been waking up and this person, you've just been thinking about them over and over and over again. And like, why do I keep thinking about this person? Maybe you're to reach out to that person and give them a word of encouragement. Now, I'll tell you, when you reach out and give someone a word of encouragement, don't lie. Don't tell them, hey, praying for you, and you ain't said one prayer for them. Just be for real. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Been thinking about you for a few days. Everything okay? Hope all is well, believing the best for you, whatever. You send them out this one word of encouragement, and I promise you that they're going to write back. Wow, you've been thinking about me? I needed that. I needed somebody. Hey, pray for me for blah, 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 blah. And then don't just say, I will, and don't pray. Stop right there and pray. Pray real quick, right? If you want to be spiritual and say, praying for you, then before you send the text, pray for them. If you're like me, people come up to me all the time right here at the bottom when I'm done preaching, and they say, hey, can you pray for me this week for XYZ? I said, no, I can't. And they're like, why? Because I'm going to forget what you just said as soon as you walk away. So can I pray for you right now so that it's done and I don't forget? Right? Don't give that promise of prayer. Just do it right then. I'll pray for you right now. Let's just pray for this. Let's get this done. All right? That's some good information right there. You might be the very word of encouragement that someone needs to not give up where they're at right now. Wonder if your one word of encouragement comes behind somebody who's about to give up. And because of your encouragement, they keep on pressing and they keep on moving forward. And because of that word of encouragement, they discover a cure for a disease that you encourage them to go towards. Come on. That's a good work. That's a work that's going to be glorified in heaven. Like, you were used in that situation. What could God do through you with one word of encouragement? You might be their Titus sent by God with battles on the outside, fear on the inside, discouragement and conflict all around. Could we encourage each other in the Lord? Maybe the picture that you're going to put on the wall of Harvest is someone that you encouraged and it brought them through a breakthrough, brought them to a place in life that catapulted them into a new season. And that's the picture that God used you in this season. So today I have three practical thoughts in this summer of harvest and in some of the hardest spiritual work that maybe we've gone through. How can we get through this and how do we grow in our walk with the Lord? Ready? Here's number one. Encourage others daily. Encourage others daily. Why every day? Because every day someone is hearing a voice of discouragement. Every day someone's hearing the voice of discouragement. Every day somebody's giving up. Every day pastors are quitting and shutting down their churches. Every day. Wonder if someone could bring them a word of encouragement. Like, come on, man, my life's been changed because of you. Push through. There's people who are quitting jobs, people who are walking out of their homes on their families because there's nobody there to encourage them to stick through the dry times. Check this out. Hebrews 3:13. But encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. I mean, do you get what this is saying here? It's like that my word of encouragement could help someone else to not sin? Check that one out. But I'm not my brother's keeper. It's none of my business. Listen, I'm not talking about judging someone. I'm not talking about getting in their business trying to correct them. I'm saying just encouraging somebody. Hey, man, I'm thinking about you today. Everything good? No, it's not. Now, there's some of you don't even want to hear the sob story. That's why you don't encourage nobody, because you don't want to hear that they're not doing good and open up that can of worms. But what could you bring in the moment of that they need some hope? What could you bring We could all be preachers in our own lives. Every day we could be bringing the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ with a word of encouragement. You might be saying to yourself, but I ain't got nothing to give. I need to be encouraged. I'm supposed to be encouraging somebody, and I'm dry, man. I'm crying myself to sleep at night. You want me to go tell somebody how good they are? How amazing they are? Well, somebody tell me. Well, here's one thing I've learned about God. What I give is what I get. You can ask anybody who knows me. When I walk through the mall, the park, wherever I'm at, if I see somebody who's like upset or crying or having a problem, I'll go right up to them. And I'll say, hey, you all right? Everything okay? You would be surprised at what people are willing to tell strangers. Sometimes I'm like, yo, I need to go wash my ears out. I did not want to hear all that, you know? And I'll even say to somebody, right in the mall, I'll sit down next to them, they're crying, hey, you okay? Everything all right? No. And I'll say, you mind if I put my arm around you? I don't just go hugging weirdo stranger. I'm not that guy. I'll say, you mind if I put my arm around you? And I'll tell you, I've never been denied a hug, believe it or not. Put my arm there, just hold him for a second. I'm like, go ahead. It's all right. Just relax. Take a breath. Hey, I want to tell you something. I don't know you, but I was drawn to you in this moment. I'll tell you, I ain't got nothing to offer you except the one I believe in. The Bible says that he'll never leave you nor forsake you, that he'll stick closer to you than a brother. And I know you might be feeling lonely right now and abandoned and there's nobody who cares, but God sent me to you right now. He cares. He cares enough to send someone to you in this moment right now. I mean, it only takes a few seconds. It only takes a few seconds to encourage someone and to encourage each other daily. Here's a tip. If you think something good, say it. If you think something good, say it. If you're looking through someone's Facebook or Instagram and you think something good, comment. But Mama always said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I think that comments on the internet is like one of the greatest tools of the devil. Product reviews, another tool of the devil. Product reviews. You know why? I'll tell you. Because everyone here uses product reviews. Everybody in here go on Amazon and you look at 900 million reviews. It don't matter that you went through 1,000 great reviews. You're looking for the bad ones. You're looking for the 1 star. Why did that person pick 1 star? Right? And they only got 3 bad reviews. 9 million good reviews. You got to read the 3 bad ones. Why are we wired this way? We all need CR. Then you don't buy the product. You don't buy the product because of the bad review. But what you don't know is that the person who gave the bad review is an idiot. We can say that in church. Yes, we can. Because they never read the owner's manual. They didn't even know how the thing worked. They didn't even have it plugged in. And they're going to give it a bad review. I spent $39 on this thing and it didn't even work. Did you plug it in? Funny story. I do IT stuff and you have to ask this question. Is it plugged in and is it turned on? Well, where's the power button? But you didn't buy a product that could have forever changed your life because you listened to one bad review to somebody who never read the manual. There's a lot of people in the world giving church and God a bad review. And they never read the manual. They never read the Bible. They're going to talk about Jesus and say that it doesn't work, but they never met Jesus. They're talking hypotheticals about someone who talked to them about Jesus, but they never met him for themselves. They've never surrendered their life to Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you this, they never plugged in. They never plugged in. This whole Christianity thing, I'll tell you, it don't work unless you plug into him. It don't work unless you fully surrender your life to Jesus Christ. The half-hearted Christian life, Christian on Sunday, everything else from Monday on, it don't work. It don't work. Hey, this is some free stuff. Don't rob someone. Don't rob someone of the blessing that God wants to send to them through you because you don't think you qualify to deliver that message. You be the voice of encouragement that they need. The number one was encourage each other daily. Number two, encourage others spiritually. Spiritually. And this is different. This is not the same as just encouraging each other daily. Listen to this. In Romans 1:10, one of the things I always pray for is the opportunity, God willing, to come to see you at last. For I long to visit you so I can bring you spiritual gifts that will help you grow strong in the Lord. When we get together, I want to encourage you in your faith, but also I want to be encouraged by your faith. This sounds a lot like what church is supposed to be about. That we come together to encourage each other in our faith. Attending church is not about praise and worship. I gotta just tell you that. It's great. It's nice. I love it. I love singing songs to God. I love connecting to him that way. But do you know why we do worship? The Bible tells us to enter his gates with thanksgiving, into his courts with praise, that we get into the presence of God through a moment of worship. But you know what worship really does? It lets us go, it lets us breathe out a long week. Breathe out the fight that we just had on the way to church because your wife was late getting out because she had to get her hair done and honking the horn. No? Somebody had that one this morning. I know that. Kid's not ready. Toothpaste dripped on the shirt. Now they got to change the shirt. It gives us a moment to disconnect from what the week was and connect to God. Even the world knows, poetry knows that music soothes even the savage of beasts. And so it gives us that moment to just, all right, Lord, I'm just going to clear my mind. I'm going to forget about everything that's behind me. And Lord, I worship you today because I'm made in your image and after your likeness. You made me to worship you. I exist to worship you and you alone. I'm just going to take a minute, God, and just relax. I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to disconnect from the issues that are waiting. I'm just going to take a moment to be with you. That's what worship is. And that's why we spend that time. And that's why we can get on our knees and sing a song before God. I mean, this is not a popular posture. No, nobody wants to do this. But we can because we understand what that is. And what worship does is it brings us into a place that we can now receive the word of God with an open heart. Back then, when the Bible was written, they didn't have praise and worship. They didn't have a guy, an electric guitar, and a drummer. They didn't have all that. They just came in and they preached the word. We've brought that because we know that we need a moment to disconnect from all the busyness. They didn't have iPhones back then. We need to disconnect from that, right? One of the things, it's one thing to encourage someone. It's another thing to encourage them spiritually. So let me give you an example. My oldest daughter is a singer, has a very beautiful voice. And I could tell her, wow, Caitlin, you did a really good job. That was awesome. You did great. That's encouragement. Beautiful voice. Or I could say, wow, Caitlin, you did a great job. I love hearing you use your gifts and abilities that God gave you to bring glory to his name. I love watching you sing songs to honor God. I love it. Now, what did I just do? I took a compliment, I took a word of encouragement, and I coupled it with her calling, with her purpose. I coupled it with God and said, hey, you're great and your talent is amazing, but you wouldn't have this talent if it wasn't for God who put it in you. I'm keeping it God-centered. I'll tell you this. I believe that all the amazing rock stars that are out there today are just misdirected worship leaders. It became about them and about their popularity and their fame and the money instead of the God who gave them that ability. And very easily we can all do that in here. Very easily we could all lose our focus for what we were created to be because people built our heads up, how amazing we were. And we forgot. I love hearing you sing. I love watching you worship. I love playing your instruments to bring glory to God. Now I coupled it with a spiritual side, a spiritual environment, okay? We encourage each other daily. We encourage each other spiritually, but here's the third one. This third part of encouragement, if you can get this one, this will forever change your walk with the Lord. I promise you. If you can get this one point that I'm about to give you, this will radically change your walk with the Lord. Ready? Number 3, encourage yourself in the Lord. Encourage yourself in the Lord. This is one of the most important spiritual skills you can learn. I'm giving you this skill today. I'm giving you this idea today, this tool today, because I believe there's a lot of you out there who don't have somebody in your daily life that's going to encourage you. So you're going to have to encourage yourself. Why is this one of the most encouraging things? Because there's battles on the outside. There's fear on the inside. There's discouraging voices all around. And there are going to be times where there's nobody there to pick you up. And that's when we learn to encourage ourselves in the Lord. Since I was in high school, early on in high school, maybe ninth grade, I began to have some severe, maybe anxiety, emotional problems, whatever you want to call it, identity crisis, not really knowing who I was, what I was supposed to be, what direction I was going to do. I've always been an overthinker. And I don't really remember where I got this from. I think my mom made me start doing it. But when I got up in the morning before I would go to school, she'd make me stand in front of the mirror. And she'd make me speak to myself. And I know it sounds really weird, right? Talk to yourself. But what we have to understand is this, is that as an individual, we are 3 parts. We are a spirit, soul, and a body. The body is what we all see. It's the pretty part. But that pretty part dies and it decays. The spirit of a man, a spirit of a woman, lives eternally. And that is coupled with the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotions. Those 2 parts of you live eternally, okay? So when I'm standing in the mirror in the morning and I'm looking at myself, I'm looking myself right in my eyes, I believe, and I have to picture this, and I have to get myself into this mindset, that Mike McKelvey's spirit is talking to Mike McKelvey's body. And I have to tell myself what he's going to do. I know this sounds crazy, right? This sounds weird. But listen to any self-help, any one of those personal motivational speakers, they're going to tell you to do the exact same thing. I'm just telling you what they won't tell you is that your spirit man needs to speak to you. The real you. And the spirit of Mike McKelvey is going to tell the flesh of Mike McKelvey what he's going to do today. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I had to encourage myself daily because there's going to be some situations that you find yourself in that you're going to have to preach yourself out of. No? There's not always going to be someone there to build you up and to preach you out. There's not always going to be someone who's going to tell you, hey, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment, it shall condemn. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside your mortal body. Anything you say your hands to will prosper and be successful because you're 10 times better. You're blessed in the city. You're blessed in the field. Everywhere your feet walk are blessed. See, there's not always going to be somebody to tell you that. So sometimes you got to encourage yourself. But here's my dilemma. How do you encourage yourself when you're the one beating yourself up. Oh. I mean, when you're telling yourself you're just not good enough, and you believe it, how do you preach yourself out of that? I mean, this becomes tough, man. This is a battle. Battles on the outside, fear on the inside, voices all around me of discouragement, and I'm my own worst enemy. Did you know, honestly, 99% of the time, you're your own problem? It ain't somebody else. We project it. Remember I told you? It's the cup's fault that it's half empty. But it's my view of the cup. It's me. It's my tainted view. It's my perception of the situation that's wrong. So how do I build myself up when I'm beating myself down? Check this out. In 1 Samuel 30 in verse 6, let me give you a little background here. David has taken his soldiers out into the field, and they fought a good fight. They get home, and their city's destroyed, and their family members are all killed. Verse 6, it says, and David was greatly distressed. This word greatly distressed carries the sense David was at the point of suicide. David was at the point of suicide. He was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the souls of all the people were grieved, every man for his son and his daughter. His own boys, the ones he could count on the most, his best friends, were the ones plotting to kill him. Battles on the outside, causing fear on the inside, and talks of murdering him all around. It says, but David, all of this is happening. Trials are coming against him. Storms are coming against him. Words of murder are coming against him. Negative thoughts and beliefs are coming against him. But David, it says, encouraged himself in the Lord his God. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. I'm not sure David had a mirror back then, but he probably had like a piece of gold that he could see his reflection in. And I think he had to look at himself. I think he had to preach himself through a situation. You know why he had to preach himself and why he was greatly distressed? Because he beat himself up for all those families dying. It's kind of like, it is my fault. I had them out fighting this battle, and I believe we were doing God's work, but I made that decision, and look what happened. How do you encourage yourself in the Lord through a situation like this? I think he had to look at himself and says, if God is for me, who can be against me? What shall man do unto me? Paul was much later on than David, but I think David had to say the same things, like, I forget what's behind, and I press towards the mark for the prize of the high call in Jesus Christ. I forget my habits and my hang-ups and my failures and my self-deceit, and I leave all that behind, and Lord, it's only through you that I have the strength to move on. It's only through you that I have the power to move ahead. And he had to encourage himself daily in the Lord his God. So today I want to leave you with a tool. I want to bring you into my personal quiet time. Every single morning I do this. Every single morning I do this because this makes me a better me. I speak to myself a list of things. I have them pretty much memorized, but I read them to myself so that it's me talking to me. I need to hear myself say these things out loud to keep me in my lane. If you're not sure of what your lane is in your life, then people are going to come into your life who are going to keep pulling you out of your lane. Hey, you should do this, you should do this, you should do that, you should invest in this, you should start up this company, you should be a part of this. no, this is my lane right here. This is me. Please don't try to pull me into your lane. Listen to what I'm saying. You need to know what your lane is, where you're called to. But you won't know that if you don't tell yourself what that lane is. And so I encourage myself in the Lord my God daily, not just through scriptures, but through what I call my daily inflections. Pastor Kat calls them her daily affirmations. And this is what I say to myself every day. I encourage you to take some time, maybe this week, and write out a list of things that you need to say to yourself every day. But here's mine. My first one is this: Jesus Christ is first in my life. I exist to serve and worship him. Right there, man, my first statement that I tell myself puts me on track. Jesus Christ is first in my life. Because everything else is gonna compete for that position. Jesus Christ is first in my life. I exist. I am on this planet today to serve and worship him. Right there, that gets me going. Ready? Second, I will be faithful to my family and I will protect them with my life. I will be successful in all that I do because I will follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. I will obey his voice and I will run with excitement towards the thing that he's called me to do. I will abandon everything else that does not promote the direction and calling that God has for me. This does not make me better than anyone. It makes me a better me. I will put the time in and I will get the results that God promises. I will reach the unchurched, not to grow a bigger church, but to build the kingdom of God. I will share my faith. I will tell my story and people will hear God speak. I've been created for more than I see right now. I will not be who I am a year from now. I will allow my mind to be renewed daily. I will run far from this place to be in God's divine space. For me to live is Christ. I want to make those words of Paul mean something in my life. We will be a church of 5,000 and God will give us the plan to get there. We will reach thousands of people with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and those thousands will be equipped to reach tens of thousands. And I close with this. I will be consistent in my walk with the Lord and devoted to reading his word and spending time in prayer each day. I close with that because then I step into prayer and Bible reading time. What I've learned in the 22 years of being in ministry is this: when my stage time is longer than my prayer time, I'm a problem. So I spend about an hour and a half on a Sunday on the stage. I need to be spending an hour and a half in prayer, 2 hours in prayer throughout the week. Listen to what I'm telling you. Prayer is very important. And I think the issue is that most of us don't know how to pray. We don't know how to pray. We don't have a model in which we follow. Before the end of the summer, I'm going to release a prayer model to you that I do, and we do it with our staff. It has helped us. It keeps us on track. It keeps us focused. Because aimless prayer is good for relationship. It is. You know, hey God, I'm thinking about you. I love you. You're everything. So I might as well bring you into this situation right now. Right? That's just an aimless conversation. But committed, devoted prayer, concentrated prayer, written out prayer, what am I going to pray about? That changes other people's lives around me. I will pray for my nation every single day. It doesn't matter who's in charge of it. I'm praying for my nation. All right? I'm praying for my coworkers. I'm praying for my job. I'm praying for the leaders around me. I'm going to pray for my family. I'm praying for my children. I'm going to pray for my staff. Come on, we're going to pray for the church and the people of the church. Then we shift into something else. I'm going to pray for my mind, that it be renewed to the things of God. I'm going to pray for my eyes. Let not my eyes gaze upon anything unwholesome that it should not be looking at. Gentlemen, we need to be praying this prayer. Lord, I pray over my hands that they do not touch and lay a hold of something that they do not need to be touching. Come on now. We're praying this stuff. Everywhere these feet walk are blessed. They're blessed in the city. They're blessed in the field. They're blessed when I come and when I go, and everywhere I go is blessed. Father, I thank you that my feet are shod and protected with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Are you praying over yourself? Praying over where you're going. This is a committed, devoted, concentrated prayer that doesn't just change you. It will begin to change people around you because you'll be a better you. People come in, hey, what's different about you? I don't know. Well, I like it. I'd like to, well, you know what? Maybe come to my church and see what's happening over at my church. I think maybe that might have something to do with it. You don't have to get all weird. You just say, sure, hey, why don't you, maybe church is what's doing it. I've been trying something different at church. Come check it out and see what happens. Now you're being a light in dark places, and this thing is happening, growing in encouragement. Amen? Father, we thank you for this time in your word. I pray, God, that we have some tools today to grow in our walk with you, to step out of comfort or discomfort and step into the realm of faith. You called us off the shore into the deeps. You've called us into a place where we trust in your guidance and your hand to carry us. Lord, I thank you for this week that those who came in hurting and in need found hope today. They found encouragement today. That, Lord, your love is touching their hearts and their minds today, but they also know that they're welcome home. They're welcome here at Family Church, that they are loved and cared for. That, God, we love them exactly the way they are, but we love them too much to leave them there. We want to build them up in their faith, send them out to the world to be a light, to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Father, I thank you that everyone today is blessed in the sound of my voice, that everything they set their hands to will prosper and be successful. We ask you to look down from heaven, smile upon us, be gracious unto us, and give us peace, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. We love you. Have a great weekend.